Look, we've got to start with a difficult one because Ava's been at the centre of something quite horrible, which when I came into the office this morning, I didn't know anything about. So the producers told me about this. Is comments made by Laurence Fox on another channel, and I'll talk to Ava about this in a second. But in case you don't know about it, let's do the background. So on Monday, Ava went on a show on the BBC called Politics Live to talk about whether there should be a minister for men. Let's take a quick look.
I think that it feeds into the culture a little bit, this Minister for Men argument. In my mind, I think there should be a Minister for Mental Health, which would be all-encompassing. I mean, you've got something like 7 million children waiting for prescriptions for mental health at the moment. It's a crisis that's endemic throughout the country, not specific to men. And I think, a lot of ministers kind of bandy this about to sort of, I'm sorry, but make an enemy out of women, I think, not you.
OK, so Ava said that in discussion with our friend Jeff Norcott, and there was a little bit of a hoo-ha about whether you'd been sensitive enough and so on. And then this came up on GB News with Laurence Fox, and he was discussing it with Dan Wootton, and this is what was said.
We're past the watershed, so I can say this. Show me a single self-respecting man that would like to climb into bed with that woman, ever, who wasn't an incel, who wasn't a cucked little incel. That little woman has been fed, spoon-fed oppression day after day after day after day, starting with the lie of the gender wage gap. And she sat there, and I'm going like, if I met you in a bar and that was like sentence 3, chances of me just walking away are just huge. We need powerful, strong, amazing women who make great points for themselves. We don't need these sort of feminist 4.0. They're pathetic and embarrassing. Who'd want to shag that?
I mean, it's just appalling. And I don't know whether you saw it go out live. Or
No.
No,
I didn't.
I saw it on your Twitter feed, so you shared it. Can you tell me how you feel about that?
I think the clip speaks for itself. I don't have anything to say about it at all. I'm actually a journalist rather than a commentator, and I'd much rather be judged or asked about my work than have people talking about my body. I just think I don't. Sorry, I'm a bit speechless. I just don't really know what to say to
Well, I
him.
think we're probably speechless as well.
You're incredibly hurt by this, and I can understand why. I don't quite know what he was doing there. I don't think any man or woman would understand what he was doing there. I'm a great believer that when you're doing this sort of debate on television, you can take someone's argument apart. You might hate their argument. You can take their argument apart. What you don't do is get personal. And what you don't do is talk about and if I'll use the word shaggability on television, it's just outrageous. And I think he has done himself more harm than he could ever do you. I mean, you have to know that. You have to understand that this is not going to harm you. This will harm him. And I don't quite know why that was allowed to go on. I mean, you're hurt by it?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm really hurt by it. I am. I'm shocked by it, actually. I'm shocked that it went out. And I'm shocked that... Actually, do you know, this is the sort of talk that you worry that men have about you when you're not in the room. There's always sort of a worry in the back of your mind, which is, are people actually interested in what I'm saying or what I'm doing, or are they just looking at me physically? And I think that clip proves that there are some men who are.
But you know that there are men like that. We know that. But what we normally don't see is that being broadcast live on television. That's why it is shocking. I'm not shocked that men talk like that about women behind closed doors, but I am shocked that someone would say that on television. There was a hatred in his voice there. I mean, if he'd taken you on about your argument about men and mental health, I agree with you on that. I mean, you and I don't agree on a lot politically, but I certainly agree with you on